What's going on, King of Kings family? It is day 25 of our Lent campaign, dwelling in the Gospel of John through the 40 days of Lent. And today we are in John chapter 13, verses 21 through 38. And the part I want to zero in on is verses 34 and 35, where Jesus says, "I give you a new commandment, love each other, just as I have loved you, so you also must love each other. This is how everyone will know you're my disciples, when you love each other." Now remember, this comes on the heels of Jesus washing the disciples' nasty, dirty, stinky feet. The Son of God humbles himself to serve his disciples as an act of love. And then he tells them that they must do the same. And I think he's telling us that too, that we must love one another. That is the call of Christ, is to love one another with a self-sacrificing love, a love that would lay down pride and position and resources, that would set aside our preferences and maybe even our own self-preservation to love and to serve one another, and to love and to serve the world. That is the imperative of Christ on his disciples. And so if we are to be his disciples, which if we call ourselves Christians, we don't get to say, well, I'm a Christian, but I don't really, do all the things that Jesus tells me to do. Jesus calls us to that. He says here very clear, you must love each other. And he defines that love by his actions previously. And so I think one of the challenges in the church when times are good is we can get by liking each other and calling it love. Or we can have affection for one another, but never really need to take a posture of serving one another. I think we'll really see in the coming days, weeks, and months just how much we love one another. And I've seen at King of Kings deep love for one another and service for one another. And so I have no doubt that we will rise to the occasion should the challenges that this pandemic creates, as potentially people lose jobs and people get sick and we need to provide for one another, that this family of faith will rise to the occasion. But this is what love looks like, is what Jesus is telling us. And he calls us to love one another in the way that he loved them, and the way in which he loved us. And the way that he loved us is that he laid down his life for us. And so he calls us to do the same. So that's all for today. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless.